but don't worry, we'll translate as we go.
This document really breaks down the whole harvesting operation. It's impressive, the level of detail.
It really is. So picture this. These huge cages, submerged in the ocean, packed with fish that are ready for market.
And these aren't just any cages. They're designed to withstand currents and storms, providing a safe haven for the fish until it's showtime, harvesting time.
Right, so how do they even start? I mean, you can't just scoop them out with a giant net, right?
You need a specialized net, that's for sure. One that can handle the weight of tons of fish. They call it a harvesting net or sometimes a sweep net.
And this thing is massive.
Absolutely. It's this
Yeah.
huge rectangular net made of super strong nylon or polyester, kind of like, a larger scale version of those purse seine nets.
Okay, I think I've seen those before.
Yeah.
But like you said, this one has to be way stronger. And the mesh size, too. That's got to be important to make sure they're only catching the right size fish.
You got it. Usually the mesh is somewhere between 15 to 20 millimeters. This lets the water flow through, but traps the fish that are big enough for harvesting.
Smart. So how do they even begin to lower this huge net into the water with all those fish swimming around?
Well, they have to be strategic about it. It all starts with understanding the ocean currents.
Ah, working with nature, not against it.
Exactly. They study the direction and speed of the currents because that dictates how the net will move underwater.
So they're basically using the ocean's natural flow to help them corral the fish.
Exactly. They position the boat and the net strategically so that the current helps guide the fish into it.
That's amazing. Now, this testo inculato thing, it actually lays out the exact dimensions they use for these nets. Like, the length has to be the cage's circumference plus 5 meters, and the depth factors in 1/6 of the cage's diameter. It's pretty specific.
Yeah, those measurements are crucial for making sure the net can encircle the entire cage and reach the bottom without any gaps.
It's like a perfectly fitted underwater curtain, but for fish. And speaking of fitting, what about those floats I see on top of the net in these pictures?
Oh, yeah, those are essential for buoyancy. They help keep the net open and upright in the water.
And I'm guessing those lead ropes along the bottom edge act as a counterbalance, keeping the whole thing stable?
You got it. It's a delicate dance between the floats and weights, especially with those strong ocean currents.
Wow, so much planning goes into this. So the net is in position, the currents are cooperating. What happens next?
It's time to start bringing in the catch. They have these colored ropes attached to the net, and they slowly start pulling those ropes, gradually shrinking the net's opening.
So they're essentially guiding those fish upward.
Precisely. As the net closes in, it gently corrals the fish toward the surface. The whole process is surprisingly calm, at least from the fish's perspective, or as calm as it can be.
I was just going to ask about that, because you hear these horror stories about overfishing and stressed out fish, but this seems, well, almost humane.
Well, they do try to minimize the stress on the fish as much as possible, both for ethical and quality reasons.
Makes sense. Now, I read that sometimes divers are involved in this process. What's their role?
Divers are like the eyes underwater. They can monitor the fish, make sure the net is positioned correctly, and even help guide the fish into it. It's an underwater ballet of sorts.
That's incredible. So it's a mix of high-tech and, like, almost old-school diving skills? Amazing.
It's a delicate dance between the two, leveraging both technology and human expertise.
And I imagine it takes a lot of coordination. But they've got the fish contained. Now they have to get them out of the water, right?
That's where the scoop net, sometimes called a brailing net, comes in. It's like a smaller net within the main harvesting net.
Okay, so they're scooping up the fish from within the larger net. What happens then?
This part's pretty cool. The scoop net has this quick release system. So as soon as it's filled with fish, they can gently lower it into insulated bins on a nearby boat. It minimizes the time the fish are out of the water and keeps them at a stable temperature.
So that's how they maintain that cold chain thing I've heard about. It's all about preserving freshness, right?
Exactly. For the moment those fish leave their underwater home, it's a race to keep them chilled and get them processed quickly. Every minute counts.
That makes a lot of sense. And speaking of time, I think we're about out of it. But you've really painted a vivid picture of this whole operation. It's amazing how much goes on behind the scenes, or I guess under the waves, to bring us sustainable seafood.
It's definitely a complex and evolving industry, especially as the demand for sustainably sourced seafood continues to grow.
Which leads to an interesting thought. With this growing demand, how will this harvesting process need to adapt and innovate in the future? Something to think about.